Hey guys, we're the doctors who read stuff, and we're covering chapters 34 and 35 of Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn, The Final Empire. Renoux is dead. Kelsier and the Inquisitor battle to the death. The Lord Ruler shows up and lets the skaa know who's boss. But things aren't always as they seem. As the crew begins to part ways, a group of skaa appear and discuss sightings of Kelsier within Luthadel after the Battle of the Survivors' Square. The crew visits Kelsier's warehouse, where they find a stockpile of weapons and a bag of Atium. All of the crew realize what they have to do. The stage has been set. The time is now. Vin needs to find out what the Lord Ruler is hiding. Is this the beginning of the end of the Final Empire? Find out our thoughts right after this.
Welcome to the Doctors Who Read Stuff. My name is Chris.
I'm Chip.
I'm Brian.
And as we discussed, this is... Wait, we haven't discussed. As you said...
As I
Brian,
said.
you said. This is chapters 34 and 35 of Mistborn, The Final Empire.
Man.
So we left off last time.
Boy, that was really rough.
Yeah.
I can't believe we stopped there.
These cliffhangers are kind of killing me.
So here's the thing. Each episode, the Sanderlanche gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
There's just a lot of stuff happening.
There is, yeah. So this epic showdown with the Inquisitor that continues in this chapter.
Bendal, was that his name?
Mm-hmm. Bendal, yeah.
Yeah, there were some really cool elements in here and some things that I really picked out. Usually when I get to like these action sequences where there's like heavy description and like then he bent his elbow 45 degrees as he did this.
As he stood akimbo, well...
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I tend to like my eyes kind of glaze over and I tend to just start skimming through pieces because that kind of narrative doesn't work well with me.
Right.
But there were some cool pieces, like Kelsier did something pretty awesome, and I think the Inquisitor actually like nodded in respect to it. And stuff
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah, I thought it was a very, very visual, and I liked how it really kind of expanded upon the Allomantic system, kind of what we know it could do already, and there's all these other things. And how are the Inquisitors so strong? I mean,
Right, we still
That's
don't
a
know.
good question.
It's just, I haven't figured that one out yet, and
But
I don't know that we will, but they're
Right.
they're tough.
They are
Coming
really
back
tough.
to what you just said about, this being, this Allomantic battle and how everything is just kind of led up to this. Well, he spent the whole book giving us little tidbits so that when we get to this point, we can follow along and we know what's
Right.
happening, right?
Yeah.
Well, like just even the fight scene where Vin sees Kelsier fighting and like, oh, I thought he was weak because he didn't know all those things, but then it goes into detail on how he's a pushing and pulling master and how effortlessly he's able to manipulate these elements in the air.
And I think and Vin talks in that scene about how powerful he is.
Right.
That she didn't realize that. Yeah, he's pretty badass.
He's hardcore.
Yeah.
Well, I actually one thing that I'd be looking forward to see when this turns into a TV series or something in the future, but yeah, that one scene where the door gets completely ripped off the carriage and then the Inquisitor throws it, and that's the part where
That was it. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I could just picture that door flying and he kind of just
Like
turns
Matrix
in midair.
style.
Yeah. Like, oh, that would look so cool.
Yeah.
And then just the visual too of him pounding the Inquisitor's head into the wooden wall of the chariot or something that until it just impaled it on with his spikes onto it. I mean, very visual.
Right. Yeah.
And that's probably jumping ahead a little bit because then,
not a whole
lot.
if you think, well, Renoux has to get killed before that happens, so
True.
or the Khandra.
True.
And I thought it was kind of cool that we start to understand that the Khandra has got some different
And I think
abilities that we're starting to learn about. That,
Right,
right.
He was wearing Renoux's skin, basically, and that he then dons Kelsier's skin in the very next chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bones or whatever they refer to it as, but yeah.
Like they're like grown up mist wraiths, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they call them?
Yeah.
But so that's interesting, and I kind of want to know more about that.
Yeah.
But
And I'm hoping he's in future books
Right.
too, or that there's some sort of a Khandra. But remember, House Venture had a Khandra.
they did.
Lord Straff was talking to. So
Huh.
we don't know where he's at, or who he is, or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, they can take a good deal of a beating. I mean, when
Yeah.
I picture like an obsidian axe,
Yeah.
like I think of obsidian as that black, heavy, jagged rock, and so I can only imagine what an axe of that would be like. I
Yeah.
mean, that would cut through. It'd be pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so like you were saying, Renoux kind of takes the axe and
Well, that was when Aelin popped in, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because then
Yeah.
Kelsier saves Aelin right after Renoux gets
Right.
impaled
And
with the axe.
he has this internal monologue about
She loves him.
you're welcome, Vin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not convenient, but you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
But after Renoux gets the axe, and like nobody there is really certain. Like Vin and Dox and Ham, they're like, he could be fine. We really don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
But Kelsier does kill the Inquisitor, and then I think we actually said it last time. We were like, I bet the Lord Ruler shows up because you have all of the major players in this one place except the Lord Ruler. And sure enough, I'm not sure what I was expecting for his big reveal, but I'm not sure this was
It wasn't this, to me anyway.
Yeah.
The thing I liked in the description of him as he exits his chariot, that he's wearing black and white. So to me, it was kind of like, well, it's probably representing light and dark. That there's some got to be a little bit of symbolism there. That he's not purely evil, but he's not good. So he's kind of walking both worlds a little bit.
And right away, Sanderson shows us how invincible he is. There's no doubt, and there's no
I mean, he's getting
hesitation. It's
impaled with spears, and he's just walking by, and he's just like, whatever.
I mean, it's
and then I guess we kind of had a feeling that Kelsier's Obi-Wan moment was coming up,
right?
But the way it happened wasn't what I expected either, because he never even tried to fight him. He just he stood up to him.
It really was
But
an
it
Obi-Wan
was just
moment.
it was basically a strike me down and strike me down, Darth.
But I did like the Lord Ruler's comment as he walked past the Inquisitor that Kelsier beheaded, and he's like, "Those are hard to replace."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know if we talked about it yet, but the visual of the Lord Ruler being so young.
Yeah.
That in Vin's mind, he's like he doesn't look any older than Kelsier, or even younger than Kelsier, and he's been the Lord Ruler for how many hundreds of years?
So I found a great piece of artwork that we actually used on our thumbnail of this scene where the Lord Ruler is kind of inspecting the decapitated head, and he's got the spears sticking out of him. And I found it on DeviantArt, and it's done by the same person who did the art for the Mistborn RPG, I think.
Oh, really?
Cool.
I pasted it in over our template, and it just happened so that the head lined up right alongside our logo.
That's awesome.
So it looks like, and I was like, "Oh, this is Kismet. I just have to keep this now."
Oh yeah.
So, it was very cool. I just wanted to point that out, that I found art from the guy who did the RPG, and he did this on his downtime. He's just like, I always wanted to do this scene and things like that. So, very cool. The Obi-Wan moment is very much an Obi-Wan moment, and it's complete with even this whole, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, pretty much. And he knows that Vin is out there watching, and he knows that all of the skaa are going to see this, and it's the whole it's the culmination of his plan, really.
Yeah.
From what we understand in the next
And
chapter,
it's
what
his
he
way
was
of
trying to
helping
become that
Luke,
symbol.
Vin escape.
Yeah. But he becomes that symbol for the skaa that I think Sazed, even in the next chapter, talks about how they're starting these religions around him, around the survivor, and that I guess we can move on to the next chapter. But but the Kandra, I can't remember what his name is, but he dons Kelsier's bones and appears to skaa, after his death. So it's kind of got a little bit of a Christ element to it too. That he's creating this whole mystique around. Is Kelsier dead? According to Sanderson, he is really dead, but he creates this whole mystique with the skaa, so that they all have something to believe in with this rebellion.
Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I thought this was a really cool thing too, and how the Kandra actually talks to the crew,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like this was my part to play in the contract. Like I knew my time was
Yeah.
coming. Like the fact that this had all been built up.
This
leading
was
to
all part of his plan.
Yeah.
exactly. I thought that was a really cool kind of
Yeah.
a twist. I thought this was kind of haphazard at the end here.
Yeah,
but
and
no,
the way the crew talks about how
Yeah.
we really underestimated what Kelsier had going on here.
Oh
you know?
yeah.
But what I was gonna say is this also brings me back to another Dune parallel where Muad'Dib is seen as like this
Yeah.
messiah
The
figure,
Messiah, yeah,
and now we get some of that here with Kelsier.
yeah.
So, yeah. Very interesting. It's like it's interesting that we really find out that, you know, because he's always talked about, you know, secrets behind secrets and how
Yeah.
he always had
There's always another
something
secret.
else planned, and he would never, like, people knew he had something else planned, but he would never say what it was, and
I think this
now
was
we
it.
know.
Mm-hmm.
I assume this was it.
Right.
And I thought it was kind of interesting too. So kind of coming out of that, the Obi-Wan chapter and the perspective with Vin in the very next chapter, when you know her first reaction is that he left me. Everybody leaves me.
Yeah.
You know, and then the whole crew's kind of
Yeah.
packing up, getting ready to leave, and Sazed's going to go back to the north to find
Right.
his terracemen, and he says, "You don't have to go alone. They're
You
very
can't
wary of
come with
outsiders. You
me."
can't
Right,
come."
right.
So now Sazed's leaving her, and
Yeah.
Oh,
you know, and
man.
she's kind of back to where she was, you know,
Yeah.
before she was part of the crew.
Right.
That everybody's leaving. I just, you know, Aelin left her earlier, but I don't think she
Right.
never saw Aelin at the battle, did she? If
I
she,
think she did in passing. She's like, "Wait, is that Aelin?"
I can't remember if she did or
I
didn't.
want to
but
say she maybe thought she saw him, but
maybe
she
that
never
was
went.
it. But they never interacted.
Yeah, no,
They-
Right.
no.
They
So-
definitely didn't.
But I almost feel like it's a recurring theme. That's like her biggest fear is that she's going to be left.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But I think it also like kind of like serves as a way to like steal her and reinforce
Yep.
her that it's like, okay,
Right.
it's time to put on the armor and keep going. Because when the Kandra says, "Hey, there's a note," and it kind of talks
Yeah.
about how everybody's got this part to play except
Yep.
Vin. She's like,
Well,
okay,
what do I do?
okay.
And then she comes to the
Yeah.
conclusion herself of what she's supposed
Yes.
to be.
well, and
It's not until
says
she
something
sees.
interesting
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian.
But it's not really until she sees the bag of Atium that she knows exactly what she was intended
What
to
was
do.
the Atium? Or isn't it was a note, the Atium,
Atium
and the 11th metal.
was in
Yeah.
there too.
Yep.
And then she kind of puts it all together. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
But he says something, or she says something. She says, "He's so strong," says Kelsier couldn't feel him, not like I can. He didn't know. Didn't know what?
I don't know.
I don't either. But we're gonna find out.
Curious.
I hope so.
Not this week, but we're gonna find out.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of interesting too. So you know, she's kind of going through her moment of everybody's abandoning me, but then they follow that up with they hear voices of the skaa in the streets,
Yeah.
and they're all
Yeah.
talking about seeing Kelsier and that he came to this group of skaa, and then they have all the torches, and that's when I think it was her and Sazed they grab the rest of the crew and they look, and to me it felt like the lighting of the beacons in Return of the King, where you start seeing all these kind of torches being lit.
Yes.
That was the visual that was in my head, is all these torches being lit in
That's a
different
good visual.
parts of the
Yeah.
city
Yeah.
with the sky. That the rebellion has really started, and they have something that they believe in,
Yep.
and that it's really, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
It just got real.
And I think in the face of like the hopelessness that they feel, this is kind of like that spark that they needed
Right.
to
Yep.
really just kind of reignite.
They really needed that.
Yeah, they're like, okay, oh,
We can
I
do
see
something.
what he did.
Yeah. Well,
It's
that's
like,
I kind of wrote down
yeah.
too that you really get to see the fruits of all the work that he'd done. That he's got he became the symbol to the sky. He got these stores of weapons throughout the city to arm the rebellion. He created leaders out of the crew that I don't think they realized how he was putting them in different positions of not power but with responsibility, really, to take leadership over these different things that were going on. And I had one other note in here and I can't remember. Oh, and just the rebellion itself, that he sparked all of this. And it was subtle the way, because I mean, it kind of happened through the book. We read it all, but I don't think I put it all together until Sanderson said, "Hey, here's everything that he did." Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there was something he said to Vin before he died, where he said he was going to go see Mare and he was going to tell her.
That was in his note, wasn't it?
In his note, yeah.
Oh, it was in the
She always wished she'd had a daughter,
right?
And,
yeah,
yep.
I couldn't remember the context, but that was like the. Oof.
Mm-hmm.
But he still left that little bit of a kernel, because in the same, actually it was the other note where he said, P.S. I don't know what this metal does, and if you were reading this, that means I never found out, but I think you can. Mm-hmm. That sort of like passing of the torch. That was a really cool moment.
He like, it was, I don't know if he outright stated it or it was internal monologue, but he was always like, she's special. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's something different about her.
And there's been different hints all the way through. I mean, we know that the Inquisitors are looking for the obligate. I don't know if the obligators
she can see through the copper clouds,
right? You know that she was able to battle two fully trained Mistborn and win. Yeah, you know that there is something about her being that
she picked things up.
Right. Yeah. So there is something more to her that we just don't know yet.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It was hard to stop. Like we said at the beginning. Each time we do this, it's like, oh, I've got to put it down.
It was really tough.
So we're looking forward to.
Is this where does this one end with her basically saying, "I'm going to go"? And
I'm going.
So I just love that how much like Kelsier she's become. In some ways that she's got this confidence. She's self-assured.
She packs up. She grabs the
and
medal,
you think
and
about
she's
just
gone.
the balance from the beginning of the chapter, and it's kind of almost woe is me. Everybody's left, and to turn into this, it's like wow, that's
yes, it's awesome. Yeah. And I can't wait for the next episode. We'll see you next week. Thank you for listening, watching, whatever it is. We invite you, if you like what you heard, to subscribe below, and we look forward to discussing the next set of chapters with you. Have a great day.
Allons-y.